your comment into the show. Speaking of the show, we have a great show in store for you. Lots of trending headlines today, particularly as it relates to Iran and the war footing that the United States and Israel are on currently. We've got the right one here to help us unpack that. I should say the right two here to help us unpack that. I want to welcome to the show Professor P.L. De Silva. Dr. De Silva, he lectures at the School of Diplomacy and International Relations at Seton Hall University and is also a visiting professor at the Faculty of Humanities in South Africa. He is a regular contributor to Al Jazeera Net in Q News in Cairo. Welcome to the show, Dr. De Silva.
Very nice to be on the show and very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. We're also joined with Mr. Wiertsema. I hope I got that right. If not, I'm sure he'll correct me. He holds a master's degree in social anthropology. He is a longtime activist for environmental protection, economic justice, and international arms control. In 1990, he co-founded the Dutch organization Both Ends, that's working with civil society organizations throughout the world towards the protection of environmental and human rights. Welcome to the show, Mr. Wiertsema. Did I get that right?
Thank you. Very right. Nice to be with you.
It's very nice to be with you. Very nice to be with both of you. As I mentioned before, a lot of folks have the war in Iran on our mind. We can't take it off of our mind because we're already experiencing the implications of this military aggression on the part of the United States and Israel. When we come forward, I want to unpack some of the biggest trending headlines related to Iran. Already, we're hearing President Trump characterizing talks with Iran one way, while the leadership of Iran says it's not happening. We're going to try and separate the fact from the fiction as best we can. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with our guests when we come forward.
It's Afternoon Drive Time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we your girls. Won't you know that we love you? Febreze.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
La, 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 la.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Old-fashioned soul. Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. While Jesse Jackson Jr. is away, I'm in great company to dig into one of the biggest trending headlines today. Lots of folks talking about the military action that it's afoot, the war footing of the United States and Israel with Iran. I'm joined with Professor P.L. De Silva. He's an international scholar, practitioner in global affairs, diplomacy, media, peace building, and human security, with over 40 years of experiential knowledge and expertise in backroom negotiations in deeply divided societies. We're also joined with Mr. Wurtsima, who currently is the chair of the board of Stop Arms Trade. It's a group of independent researchers and activists on arms trade, the arms industry, and lobbying. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And so first things first, Dr. De Silva, I want to give you an opportunity to share from your vantage point what's keeping you up late at night as you follow these developments in Iran. And for our listeners and viewers that are a little less familiar about the latest, let me just say that Iran today dismissed an American plan to pause the war in the Middle East, issuing their own counter proposal instead, as it launched more attacks on Israel and Gulf Arab countries. It's as reported by the Associated Press. We know that two officials from Pakistan described the 15-point U.S. proposal broadly, saying it addressed sanction relief and a rollback of Iran's nuclear program, limits on missiles, and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world's oil is shipped. As of right now, the death toll from the war has risen more than 1,500 people in Iran, over 1,000 people in Lebanon, 16 in Israel, and 13 U.S. Military members, as well as a number of civilians on land and sea in the Gulf region. And so I ask again, Dr. De Silva, what's keeping you up late at night?
This is about market manipulation. While everybody else is counting the missiles and hypersonic missiles and drones and bombs and things like that, President Trump and his family and friends are raking in money by manipulating the markets. And what can I tell you? There are two political betting sites that should be banned. They're called Polymarket and Kalshi. Now, Donald Trump Jr. is on the advisory board of Polymarket. And just before Trump made his announcement, I'm talking to the Iranians, etc., they've placed a huge bet on oil. And I'll just like to read the numbers, right? Before Donald, tweeted in all caps on Truth Social, which is, by the way, it's an unofficial, privately owned Twitter account. It's not from the US government. But anyway, that's how he conducts official government business. Now, when that happened, $580 million were placed in oil bets, and there was a $2 trillion increase in market cap, and there was a surge in the S&P 500. The stock market lost 1 trillion and then went up again. And its family and friends, like the Commerce Secretary, who is the former chairman and CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, these are the people who are kind of raking it in. This needs to be thoroughly investigated, okay, to the fullest extent of the law. And these criminals need to be put behind bars. There is no way for insider trading. Now, these are the big guys. Now, inside Capitol Hill, there's also a lot of insider trading going on. This is all criminal enterprise. So while blood and treasure is being shed in the Middle East and in the Gulf, back home, these crooks, really, they are crooks. It's the art of the steal. So that is what keeps me up. And I am actually quite upset. And we need to educate our people and the Congressional Black Caucus to hold these people and their feet to the fire and bring them to justice.
The art of the steal. Those words really sort of break through the noise, especially given that one of the president's big claims to fame is his book, The Art of the Deal. The Art of the Deal. Mr. Wurtsima, same question. What is keeping you up late at night?
Well, my deepest worry is where this conflict, this war of aggression will head to. Actually, I mean, one of the supposed aims of this aggression was to prevent Iran or the regime in Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. First of all, I mean, I like to point out that never any evidence has been produced that Iran was on the brink of developing such a weapon. I mean, that being said, there is only one nation in the Middle East or in West Asia that is having nuclear weapons, and that is Israel. One of the two states that started this act of aggression. And I'm really worried that where Iran, in my view, totally righteously is resisting this aggression, that in the end it will be attacked by nuclear weapons. And that would be bringing the world to really a very serious disaster.
Just as a follow-up, Mr. Wurtsima, if I'm tracking with what you're saying, you are making a very clear point that as this war with Iran drags on, we might see an increase in the likelihood where a nuclear weapon might be used. And you have pointed out that in the region, Israel has such a weapon. Are you fearful that Israel might actually deploy a nuclear weapon on Iran?
Definitely. I think historically already Golda Meir said in the 70s that Israel was prepared to use such a weapon against Iran because they really consider Iran as the biggest enemy of the small state of Israel in West Asia. And given the record of the current president Netanyahu, and or the prime minister, I should say, Netanyahu of Israel, and also the record of frivolous of the president of the United States, I am really very afraid, scared that these crazy people will use these weapons. And I think it's a very serious danger. And I think it's up to the American politicians and the Congress in America actually to stop the American president from considering such options. But I think it's also up to the United States to withhold Israel from using this option. Because Israel, I think, in the end, has no future if not granted by the United States. So the United States is holding the key here.
Dr. De Silva, I saw you nodding along as Mr. Wertsima sort of laid out his argument, really his deep fear that Israel may at some point consider deploying a nuclear weapon against Iran. I want to go back to something that you said earlier in this conversation, calling on members of Congress, particularly the Congressional Black Caucus, to step up efforts to rein in some of the corruption that is afoot, that is enabling conflicts like this to pull focus from what's really going on. There are a number of Americans that are concerned about the pro-Netanyahu lobby in the United States, a pro-Netanyahu effort to keep members of Congress from reining in any sort of military support to Israel, from curtailing any support to Israel. I want to give you an opportunity to react directly to that claim. There are folks that feel like the ironclad relationship between the United States and Israel, has no guardrails, has no checks and balances. It is about supporting a friend of the United States no matter what. Should that relationship be reimagined in any way?
Most definitely. I mean, my sources within the Pentagon are complaining that at every single meeting, including closed-door meetings that they have, these are attended by Mossad officers and IDF officers. So this country is occupied by the Israelis. I mean, can you imagine? The Pentagon, every single meeting, you have Israeli officers from the intelligence services, the Mossad, and from the Israeli Defense Forces who are present, right? That's number one. Number two, the money that's there, that's corrupting our politicians and our legislators. So Miriam Edelson and AIPAC and others have for decades been corrupting our legislators, okay? And therefore, this is the time that they're coming in to call in their favors. And they are the ones who are propping up Netanyahu, whose political life is hanging by a proverbial thread, because no sooner than the war ends, he's going up in jail for at least 3 cases against him, not to mention this whole disastrous war that has destroyed the infrastructure and the economy of Israel. And for what purpose? What has he achieved? What has he gained? And the same question has to be asked of Donald Trump. What have you gained for the United States from a strategic or tactical of value, apart from aggrandizing and enriching family and friends?
Mr. Wertsima, to the point that was raised about what's been gained, I think a lot of Americans today and folks of conscience around the world are asking, well, who's the White House even talking to? It's worth noting that just today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt declined to identify which Iranian or Iranians the administration is negotiating with. The press secretary also declined to comment on the 15-point ceasefire plan put forward by the United States that was rejected by Iran. She cautioned White House reporters about reporting about speculative points or speculative plans from anonymous sources It's also worth noting the White House never confirmed that full plan. That there are elements of truth to it, but some of the stories that we have read that the White House says are not factual. What do you make of the fact that the White House is saying there's a negotiation that is happening with Iran that Iran says is not happening?
Well, I like to remember actually that Iran, the current regime in Iran, and the United States government were dealing with negotiations before the aggression started. So while they were doing the negotiations, they suddenly changed tack and out of the blue attacked Tehran. I mean, one can argue that it was Israel that started, but I think Israel and the US are together in this. So what kind of negotiations are they talking about? I mean, I don't think the current US government is a reliable partner in any negotiations. Of course, they are talking around, but they are talking on social media all the time. I mean, negotiations happen normally just behind closed doors, first confidentially. You need to build trust. And I mean, all that is shattered deliberately, I would say, very deliberately. And like Professor Da Silva is pointing out, I mean, it's just to make money for the family themselves, for some of the people in control in Washington, D.C. at the moment. So it's very upsetting and troubling. And I don't think there are any negotiations going on at the moment.
Yeah. When we come forward, more on the news that is afoot in Iran, we know that the Associated Press is reporting that the Houthis say that they back Iran, but will stay on the sidelines. What does that mean in terms of any hope of bringing this conflict to an end? More with our guest, Dr. Da Silva and Mr. Wurtsema. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's Afternoon Drive Time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson is pushing back on claims from two former top aides who say his administration was hostile toward law enforcement.
The women and men who serve our city on the front line deserve the ultimate level of respect.
Johnson defended their firing, saying fighting crime takes a broader team effort. A Florida woman has pleaded not guilty after allegedly opening fire on Rihanna's Los Angeles home. The woman faces multiple charges, including attempted murder, after prosecutors say she fired 20 rounds. Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, and their family were inside at the time, but no one was injured. And Tiger Woods returned to competitive play Tuesday in Match 2 of the Topgolf League. His team, Jupiter Lynx, fell to Los Angeles, marking his first appearance since being sidelined by disc replacement surgery last year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O Tires, for a limited time, get a free tire when you buy 3. That's right, buy 3, get 1 free. Valid on select tires with installation purchase. And synthetic oil changes start at only $39.99. Find your nearest store at bigotires.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back in action tonight. They wrap up their 6-game road trip at Indiana. The Clippers are at home tonight against Toronto. The NBA Players Association wants the league to modify or get rid of the 65-game rule, the rule that requires players to play in at least 65 games to be eligible for postseason honors. The problem for the Players Association is that they agreed with the league 3 years ago to implement the 65-game rule policy. The league put the rule in place to motivate players to not miss so many games during the regular season. Several high-profile players, including LeBron, Steph Curry, Cade Cunningham, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, will not be eligible for postseason awards because they have missed more than 17 games. LeBron has missed 18 games this season. For the first time in 21 years, he will not be eligible for selection to the All-NBA team or other honors. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits, and your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host, in for our friend and brother Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm delighted to be with you this hour, joined with two incredible leaders. I'm talking about Professor De Silva. He's an international scholar practitioner in global affairs, diplomacy, media, peace building, and human security. Over 40 years of experience there, particularly when it comes to backroom negotiations in deeply divided societies. I'm sure his work is in high demand. We're also joined by Mr. Wirtsema. He is the chair of the board of the Stop Arms Trade, a group of independent researchers and activists on arms trade and arms industry and lobbying. He's co-founder of the Dutch organization Both Ends. And you can check them out by going to bothends.org. That's BOTHENDS.org. They are working with civil society organizations around the world towards the protection of the environment and human rights. Gentlemen, thank you again for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, a pleasure to have you here, and really to help us separate the fact from the fiction. We know that Iran is on the minds of so many folks. There have been a number of developments, including this development from the Houthis, Yemen's Iran-allied Houthi rebels. They repeated their support for the Islamic Republic despite not taking part in the war against the United States and Israel. According to the Associated Press, they stressed that any decision to join the fight would be made independently and not dictated by Tehran. 3 Houthi officials told the Associated Press that the group is historically and religiously connected with Iran, calling it an ally of Yemen, but taking part in the war will be solely a decision made by the folks in Yemen. The officials spoke, of course, on conditions of anonymity. Mr. Wirtsema, please help me understand, what do you make of this statement coming from some of the Houthi leaders at this hour in the conflict?
Well, I think, that's the biggest danger that we are facing, and we are in uncharted territory. The war is really about divide and rule. Yeah, so, and I think the Houthis have been already since the war in Gaza started, been very clear and explicit, but also before that, explicit on their support of the Palestinian cause. Yeah, so I think the Houthis, the position of the Houthis has been very clear. The Houthis, they are not exactly friendly with their neighbor Saudi Arabia. We also see news that the king of Saudi Arabia reportedly should have urged or put pressure on, pressure, I don't know whether they can put pressure, but has urged the Trump administration to really continue the war on Iran. Yeah, so I think it just shows that the plot is thickening. Yeah, and of course we know the position of the Houthis. I think there is nothing new in this latest report.
And Dr. De Silva, to Mr. Wirtsema's point, the Saudis may not have much pressure they can apply to the Houthis, but the Saudis are a player in this conflict. Talk to us about what role you suspect the Saudis might be playing or could play behind the scenes. We know that the Crown Prince, among other Saudi leaders, have been investing pretty heavily in the U.S. economy, whether we're talking about some of the innovation that's afoot related to artificial intelligence, whether you're talking about the proposed merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery. We know that some of that money's come from the Middle East. It's come from the Saudis. It's come from the Qataris. It's come from leaders in UAE. And they can't be comfortable with this conflict with Iran, this war in Iran, spilling out across the Gulf states, interrupting the oil supply to at least 20% of the world. This is not the kind of disruption that people like to see in their neighborhood. And so, based on your experience in negotiations, what role might the Saudis be playing behind the scenes?
I think the Saudis and the other Gulf countries have to have a real rethink as to who their allies are and what the future is. Because in a brilliant article, my colleague Yahya Ghanem, the Egyptian journalist, a top journalist, he wrote an op-ed in TRT News saying that the clock is in the hands of the Iranians and time is on their side. Time is not on the side of Netanyahu nor Donald Trump. They need to do something flashy, splashy to catch the optics. But actually, the truth of the matter is that the Iranians have missile domination over Israel and US military bases. The US and Israel are out of interceptors. The Iron Dome has failed. Arrow is not intercepting. THAAD is not intercepting. The PAC-3 missiles, the Patriot missiles, are also not effective, and so is the David Sling, which is medium range, and also Iron Dome, which is short range. None of these things are actually working. So therefore, on the military front, putting in our special forces and the Marines is actually throwing them into a meat grinder. And Trump does not care about sacrificing blood and treasure for his hubris, and not willing to admit that he had made a phenomenal strategic blunder in following Netanyahu, in attacking the Iranians, and not listening to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, four-star Air Force General Dan Kane, who said, we are going to run out of munitions, and our allies are not going to support us. And you can see the NATO are keeping out of this dogfight. So there are a lot of things that are going on. And as Yahya Ghanem said, the Iranians have the clock. All they have to do is to run down the clock. And Netanyahu and Trump are toast. Trump is going to lose, and the GOP, the Republican Party, are going to lose the midterm elections. And after that, we're going to see Trump getting impeached, and Netanyahu will also end up in jail. That's my prediction.
When we come forward in our remaining minutes with our incredible guest, Mr. Wurtsima, I understand there's an anecdote that you have to share with us from a meeting with the late, great Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., meeting that you all had when the world was in a very different place. I want to give you a chance to share that story and more. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. More when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Injured in an accident? Insurance not paying what you deserve? The Law Office of Hamlin will get you paid. Call 424-266-9175. That's 424-266-9175. The Law Office of Hamlin, your legal vibe for the culture.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's cal-cruise-news.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
KBLA.
I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and really delighted to be joined with my guest this hour. Dr. De Silva is with us, and as is Mr. Wurtsima is with us as well. Collectively, I would say they have nearly 100 years of experience when it comes to backroom negotiations and helping to keep the world safe and with nuclear disarmament, among so many other important environmental and human rights issues. We are thankful for your work and your witness. In our remaining minutes, it's worth noting that while we were on break, there are reports that Republican Representative Nancy Mace says that she will not support U.S. troops on the ground in Iran after a closed-door House briefing, warning that the gap between the public, what the public was told, and what lawmakers were briefed on is, quotes, deeply troubling. That is the kind of crack that gets harder to hide as the war drags on. Dr. De Silva, what do you make of this? The fact that a standard bearer in the Republican Party in the Republican House is drawing a bright line and saying she won't support troops on the ground in Iran.
So this is not surprising because the very first closed-door session, the briefing session for senators, we had reactions from a number of senators, and one of them was Elizabeth Warren, who said categorically, there is no plan, it's all lies. And then another senator said, Trump is out of control. He said he attacked Iran because he had a feeling. So this is the kind of situation where there's no strategic thinking, there's no tactical thinking, and the Trump administration and Hegseth and others are not willing to listen to people who know better from within the Pentagon and Joint Special Operations Command. And now they're using presidential executive authority to deploy the 82nd, the 75th Rangers, which is part of Delta Force. All of these guys are going to be sent into the meat grinder, and along with the Marines, so the two expeditionary units. So the numbers are not enough. The Iranians have 1 million man strong military, and if you use von Clausewitz's theories of combating an army like that, you would need 2 or 3 times that number to have boots on the ground and fight the Iranians, and it will be extremely bloody and costly, as we saw in the Iraq-Iran war, right? So this is an unwinnable situation, and we are going to, lose blood and treasure, young American lives, because of the hubris and literally the stupidity of Trump and the people around him.
In our remaining minutes, Mr. Wurtsima, I understand that you've been down memory lane and you have remembered a meeting that you had many years ago with a warrior for peace around the world, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Talk to us about that moment with Reverend Jackson when the world was indeed in a very different place.
Yeah, that was indeed a great, memorable event. That was at a World Peace Conference in Vienna, I think in 1980 or 1981. It was still the heydays of the Cold War. But there were peace activists from both the communist bloc at that time, Eastern Europe and Soviet Union, and from the Western countries, including America. And Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., he came and speak to the audience, and actually he gave a very wonderful, inspiring speech, making clear that the fight for peace and the fight for civil rights, as he had been involved in all his life, together with Dr. Martin Luther King and, of course, so many other Afro-American activists, that fight and the fight for peace are deeply interconnected. So what we need at this point, I think, is that sort of leadership to come out more from America. I know that there is leadership in America also taking a stand against the current administration. But I think the inspiration that Reverend Jackson Sr. gave not only to Afro-Americans and to civil rights movement in America, but to the wider world, that sort of inspiration is really lacking in these times. So I think, it is important to note that in that way, the United States of America in the current days, is losing some of the standing it had with global fights for justice and peace that it had in the past. So that is, I think, telling also, where Professor De Silva says that, look, America is currently in for a losing war. I think actually the lack of leadership shows that also America is losing ground. Yeah, so I see other sounds. I have many contacts with civil society activists around the globe. And the credibility of America as also a society where with leadership for a different world, that leadership is gone. And I think that is troubling, because we need this alternative movement desperately to create the world of peace that we need and that the world needs at this moment.
Our thanks to our two incredible guests that bring over, well, nearly 100 years of experience between the two of them. Professor P.L. De Silva, an international scholar, practitioner in global affairs, diplomacy, media, and peace building. He lectures over at the School of Diplomacy and International Relations at the Seton Hall University. And Mr. Wiert Wiertsema, who is a social anthropologist. He is the co-founder of Both Ends, working with civil society organizations throughout the world. He's chair of the Stop Arms Trade, and we can't wait to have you all back again soon. You've been listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson is pushing back on claims from two former top aides who say his administration was hostile toward law enforcement.
The women and men who serve our city on the front line deserve the ultimate level of respect.
Johnson defended their firing, saying fighting crime takes a broader team effort. A Florida woman has pleaded not guilty after allegedly opening fire on Rihanna's Los Angeles home. The woman faces multiple charges, including attempted murder, after prosecutors say she fired 20 rounds. Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, and their family were inside at the time, but no one was injured. And Tiger Woods returned to competitive play Tuesday in Match 2 of the Top Golf League. His team, Jupiter Lynx, fell to Los Angeles, marking his first appearance since being sidelined by disc replacement surgery last year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O Tires, for a limited time, get a free tire when you buy 3. That's right, buy 3, get 1 free. Valid on select